Hi, this is Wendy Lightheart, and today we're going to be learning about rational expressions. Now, rational expressions is just a fancy term for fractions that have variables in them. Remember that a rational expression, or a fraction, is undefined for any value of x that makes the denominator 0. So for example, if we wanted to find all the values of x for which this rational expression, x minus 3 over 2x minus 5, is undefined, we simply need to find what values of x will make its denominator equal to 0. So our first step is to set the denominator equal to 0. The denominator is the bottom of the fraction, so that would be the 2x minus 5. We're going to set that equal to 0. And if we solve this equation, that will tell us the values of x that would make this expression equal to 0. So to do that, we would need to add 5 to both sides, which would give us 2x equals 5. Then divide both sides by 2 to obtain our answer, which is x equals 5 halves. So this expression, this original expression, x minus 3 over 2x minus 5, is undefined when x is equal to 5 halves. Here's another example. Again, we want to find all values of x for which the expression 3x over x squared minus 13x plus 36 is undefined. So remember that the values of x that will make a rational expression undefined is any value of x that would make the denominator equal to 0. So we're going to set the denominator, which is x squared minus 13x plus 36, equal to 0. That will always be your first step. Notice that we completely ignore the numerator. It does not matter what the numerator will be equal to, because even if the numerator is equal to 0, that fraction will actually be equal to 0. It will not be undefined. So we take the denominator, we set it equal to 0, and then if we solve that equation, that will tell us the values of x that would make that expression equal to 0. So for this one, this is a quadratic equation, and so we are going to solve this by factoring. So we'll want to factor that trinomial. So you'd be wanting to think about two numbers that will multiply to give us 36 and add to give us negative 13. And those numbers would be negative 4 and negative 9. So we factor this into two binomials, x minus 4 times x minus 9, and this product is equal to 0. And by the zero product principle, the only way you can multiply two numbers together and get 0 is if one of those numbers, or both those numbers, is equal to 0. So we basically want to know what value of x would make the factor x minus 4 equal to 0, and what value of x would make the other factor x minus 9 equal to 0. So to do that, we set each of those factors equal to 0, and then we solve those new linear equations. So if you solve the first equation, we get x equals 4, and the second equation we get x equals 9. So 4 and 9 are the two values of x that would make the rational expression 3x over x squared minus 13x plus 36 undefined. Let's look at one more. Here we want to find the values of x for which the expression x plus 3 divided by x squared plus 2x undefined. So think about what that first step is going to be. Yes, we want to set that denominator equal to 0, because anything that will make the denominator equal to 0 will make the rational expression undefined. So we set the denominator equal to 0. And then we need to solve this equation. So notice that this is also a quadratic equation, although it's not a trinomial this time, so don't forget about that first step of factoring, which is to look for a greatest common factor. And notice that we do have a common factor of x. So we'll pull that x out, and the remaining factor will be x plus 2. So here we're going to use the zero product principle again, which says the only way this product will be equal to 0 is if x is equal to 0, because that's one of the factors, or if x plus 2 is equal to 0. So the x equals 0 equation, of course, is already solved. That's one of the values we were looking for. And then if we solve the other equation, x plus 2 equals 0, we get x equals negative 2 as our other answer. So this original rational expression will be undefined when x equals 0 and also when x equals negative 2. So just remember, when you're asked to find the values of x that make a rational expression undefined, you're going to set the denominator equal to 0, and then you're going to solve that equation. If it's a linear equation, you're just going to undo the operations to isolate the x, and if it's a quadratic equation, you're going to solve it by factoring or whatever methods you have for solving quadratic equations. And once you solve that equation, then that is your answer. All right, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.